The Suffolk County Sheriff's Department has a long history of women who leave the prison system only to return. The issue, according to Suffolk County Sheriff Errol Talon, is the lack of programs and services to help them in the transition. This past December, he created Choose to Thrive to ensure that all of the county's female inmates will receive the assistance needed while they are incarcerated.
We have to really empower them while they're here to let them know that they can take charge of their life, beat whatever circumstances that put them here, but also that there are resources on the outside that's going to help them succeed.
The main resources are those to help female inmates to transition from the traumatic incidents that happened in their lives. Of the 134 inmates currently in the Suffolk County jails, a large number were victims of human trafficking. Mental health services are provided through vendors such as the Empowerment Collaborative of Long Island.
They know they're getting a new start, unfortunately, in this confinement that they are in. So what we're hoping to is not only the confinement, but also the services that are coming to them.
Sheriff Talon is hoping that the program helps these women to become better people, better mothers who can take control of their lives.
That's the belief we have to have in everybody's, that anything that they want to do, they can achieve to do it. They just have to put in the hard work, have to be dedicated, and sometimes leave those outside influences, those negative influences, away.
In Yaphank, Archie Snowden, FiOS 1 News.
Colon cancer strikes men and women, rich, poor, black, white. Yet African Americans are 40% more likely to die from colon cancer than any other racial group. So Stony Brook is leading the most concentrated effort yet to collect and study African American tissue samples, together with SUNY Downstate and Cold Spring Harbor Laboratory, so we can better understand the genetics behind colon cancer and discover what treatments patients will respond to best. This isn't just medicine, this is Stony Brook medicine.
Nice to see you.
God bless you.
Congratulations.
Governor Andrew Cuomo handed out turkeys Tuesday at the Long Island Cares Hop Park facility with a simple message in mind.
The message of Thanksgiving is to bring your family, your community together and say thank you. Have a good one.
And that's exactly what he, along with Nassau and Suffolk County officials, did for organizations by handing them turkeys in their efforts to feed those who are hungry this holiday season.
Thousands of people came here to donate goods to help people who are less fortunate. That's who we are.
Every family who requested a Thanksgiving meal through Long Island Cares and the Harry Chapin Food Bank received one this year.
Families struggle due to low wages and high expenses and are finding themselves turning to food pantries like Long Island Cares for a Thanksgiving meal and more.
It doesn't come out dry.
The presence of the governor stresses that need.
Maybe we've seen the governor being involved. The agencies and different other organizations might donate more because, they from what we're hearing, the donations are falling off. So that means that we get less. So the less we get, the less we can give, the fewer people we can help.
The governor also added that at this time of the year, it's not about getting, it's about giving. And we all should give something for those in need.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
In Hop Park, Archie Snowden, FiOS 1 News. Dalray Alvino visits the house in Baldwin that she once called home.
Oh, hi, Darren. Nice to see you. How are you doing?
Okay.
Come on in.
Thank you.
A home she needed to be saved from a life of poverty after losing her job and her children due to homelessness.
It made me feel welcome when I was here. I didn't feel alone. There were people here who helped me get through the hard times and the emotional times. And some people would think that it's a bad memory, but it's not a bad memory for me.
It's so nice to see how much you've grown, and to see you want to pull somebody else forward is a double blessing.
The home is Bethany House, created in 1980, a nonprofit agency that houses single women and single women with children in their time of need and deprivation due to lack of financial means. Women are sent to the home through the Department of Social Services. Once a temporary residence is established, the women are introduced to a series of programs designed to meet their additional needs. Room, space, and educational services and fully cooked meals twice a day are provided for the residences. Alvino is now a volunteer And although still unemployed, she now has her own apartment that she and her children share as a place of their own after taking advantage of the programs offered at Bethany House.
During the time at Bethany House, there was a lot of positive things that they offered that I took advantage of. And, you know, I just kept searching for an apartment and not give up hope, because sometimes, you know, things were hopeless.
For more than 35 years, Bethany House has been adapting to the changing needs of the homeless community in Nassau County. Today, the need for emergency and transitional housing and services for families has never been greater. In the past 3 years, they have grown more than 400% from bed capacity to 17 to that of 85 nightly. 7 years ago, Juanita Doyle and her children were homeless before she entered Bethany House. She is now a volunteer.
I've been blessed enough that even after going through homelessness, to be able to fall back on Bethany for strength and direction and guidance. And aside from that, to be able to take the same strength, direction, and guidance that Bethany has given me, and as I see women who are going through the same thing, to pass that on to them. You develop this family that you didn't know that you had, but somehow you have. And no matter what it is that you go through, to know that that door is now a door that you can always knock on, but don't get it confused, that even though that door is there for you to knock on, you're expected to be able to hold yourself to a standard where you're constantly growing and giving back, and as well as receiving. And I've been blessed to be able to receive as well as give.
For more information on how to donate or to volunteer, go to bhny.org. For Push Pause in Baldwin, this is Archie Snowden.
These artists had manual jobs, and they did art because they were moved by the muse to do art. It was on them. And that's what art is, isn't it? It's a gift from the gods. Art is about human consciousness. It's one of the things that make us human.
Despite the immense turmoil in South Africa while covering the Soweto uprising in 1976, Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist Les Payne collected artworks by artists who lived and worked in the Black Township. On June 16, 1976, the uprising was a violent result of student protests against apartheid. As a writer for a local Long Island newspaper, Payne asked his editor for permission to go to South Africa to cover the violent protest.
While I was there, I was struck by some of the art that I saw there, and then I began, in addition to writing the stories, I was filing stories every day and covering the slaughter and covering the demonstrations and covering the very, very oppressive and turbulent time that was going on in South Africa. And in between time, you know, I found time to begin collecting. I bought two major pieces of art, brought them back, and then that's what started the collection.
Selected portions of the collection of Violet and Les Payne are on display at the Godwin Turnback Museum on the campus of Queens College. Against apartheid rule and South African principles, the artists attended schools in Johannesburg to receive official art training. Art supplies were scarce, but their desire to be artists inspired their drawings.
Their job was not to be an artist. I mean, they were not in Greenwich. There was no Greenwich Village where they could, you know, art and go and shop. They had to work, and then the muse for them to paint and to draw was so strong that they found time. You know, at night they had candle, they had no electricity, the houses were not electrified, they had candlelight. They would somehow scrounge up, they would use pencils, pen and ink, paper, they couldn't afford canvas initially, and then they began to draw.
Really, it's amazing because they had so little access to resources and very little training except from collectives that they put together themselves. Some of these works are just so moving and so beautiful. And it's interesting too to see how stylistically they hold together. Each of the artists has a very unique style of their own.
This is what art does. It captures one's life. If that person can draw and develop this, what you will learn that this technique is as good as any technique in the world. They're as good as any European artist, any Scandinavian artist, any Australian artist. I mean, this is art, pure and simple, of the highest level. And what they should see in Folden here is also what life was like in the township of Soweto during the time when these artists lived and worked and created. And then at age 22, he went to an ANC meeting, ANC, African National Congress, Nelson Mandela's group.
To view the art collection of Violet and Les Payne and the artists of Soweto, go to qc.cuny.edu. This is Archie Snowden.